I slammed the bathroom door so hard the mirror cracked. I didn't even notice until I saw my reflection split down the middle, just like us. He was on the other side, screaming my name like it still mattered. Like saying it could undo what he just did. But my hands were trembling, my chest felt like it was caving in, and all I could think was, how the hell did I end up here? This wasn't the life I pictured. I used to dream about love that made me feel safe. Love that held my hand through the dark. Instead, I was hiding from it, behind a locked door, with mascara dripping into my mouth and my phone buzzing with messages I couldn't bear to read. The worst part? I wasn't even sure I was mad anymore. I was just done. Completely, devastatingly done. And he had no idea this was the last time I'd ever cry over him. Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you're watching this alone, because what I'm about to say isn't something I've ever told anyone, not even my best friend. When I met Leo, I thought he was the kind of man who could silence the chaos in my head. He wasn't flashy. He didn't have the kind of smile that made people stare. But he had this quiet confidence, like he didn't need the world to notice him to feel important. And maybe that's what drew me in. Because for the first time, I felt like I wasn't trying to impress someone, I was just being seen. He was working late shifts at a hospital when we first started talking. We'd FaceTime at 3 a.m., both of us half asleep, just to hear each other breathe. There was something comforting in that. Like maybe the world wasn't so awful if someone like Leo existed in it. I fell hard. Faster than I should have. But I kept telling myself this was what love was supposed to feel like. Steady. Safe. Simple. Until it wasn't. The shift was slow. Almost unnoticeable. First, he stopped asking me how my day was. Then he'd answer texts with just one word. Cool. Okay. Busy. But it wasn't just the words. It was the absence of warmth behind them. The energy that used to wrap around me like a blanket now felt cold. At first, I blamed his job. Long hours. Stress. Maybe he was just tired. Then came the emotional guilt trips. One night, I mentioned grabbing dinner with my coworker Josh after work. I didn't think anything of it, it was a late meeting and we were both starving. But Leo's face shifted the second I said the name. Oh, he said, voice flat. So now you're doing dinner dates with other guys? I blinked. It wasn't a date. We were working. Doesn't matter, he cut me off. Just say you wanted to see someone who actually listens to you. I laughed, thinking he was joking. But he wasn't. That was the first night he didn't say I love you before hanging up. The silence hit me harder than the argument. I thought maybe if I just proved myself, if I showed him that I was loyal, patient, understanding, he'd soften again. So I stopped mentioning Josh. I stopped going out with my friends. I even started changing how I dressed when I'd see him, just to avoid comments like, "You're wearing that for me or for attention?" I thought I was keeping the peace. But all I was really doing was shrinking. The turning point came 3 months later, during a trip we took to Lake Crescent. It was supposed to be a reset. Just the two of us, no distractions, no work. But on the second night, I found something on his phone. I wasn't snooping. His screen lit up while he was in the shower, and a message preview caught my eye. "When are you gonna leave her?" My stomach dropped. I didn't open it. I didn't have to. I knew that tone. I knew that kind of message wasn't from a friend, or a cousin, or someone from work. It was from someone who thought they were the main character in his life. And I was just the side piece he hadn't figured out how to exit from yet. When he came out of the bathroom, I was sitting on the edge of the bed, holding his phone in both hands like it was a grenade. I looked up. Do you want to explain this? He froze. Just for a second. Then he scoffed, like I was the one who had just invaded his privacy. Wow, he said. So now you're going through my phone? I didn't go through anything, Leo. It popped up on the screen. Who is she? He grabbed the phone out of my hands. It's not what you think. Then what is it? My voice cracked. She's just someone I talk to. It's not serious. Those words shattered something in me. Not serious. I'd put my heart into this man like it was a sacred offering. I'd bent and broke myself to stay in his orbit. And now I was just a footnote in his story? A casual, not serious afterthought? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just walked into the bathroom, locked the door, and sat on the floor, shaking. He knocked once. Then again. Called my name. I didn't answer. Eventually, he stopped knocking. And that silence told me everything I needed to know. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the bathroom floor for hours, my legs going numb, my mind spinning in circles. Every memory of us replayed like a cruel highlight reel, first kisses, late-night drives, whispered promises, and every scene felt like a lie now. Or worse, like a performance I never auditioned for. In the morning, I opened the door. Leo was already dressed. Bag packed. Sitting on the edge of the bed like he was waiting for a cab, not a conversation. He looked up at me, eyes unreadable. You coming? To where? I asked, still groggy, still in yesterday's clothes. Home. The trip's over. I didn't say anything. I just grabbed my bag and followed him out like a ghost. The car ride back was silent, except for the occasional notification on his phone, which he always flipped face down. It was like I'd disappeared, even though I was sitting right next to him. Back at my apartment, he barely looked at me when he said, "I'll call you later." He didn't. 2 days passed. Then 4. Then a week. No calls. No texts. Not even a half-hearted excuse. So I texted him, "Do you even want to be with me anymore?" He replied with one word, "Don't do this." Don't do this? This pain, this confusion, this emotional starvation, wasn't something I had invented. I was living in it. Drowning in it. And the one person I wanted to reach for was the one who threw me in. That night, I called him. He didn't answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. So I did something I hadn't done in months. I went out. I met up with Josh, yeah, the same guy Leo hated, for drinks. And for the first time in forever, I laughed. Like actually laughed. I forgot for a few hours that I was this hollow, heartbroken mess. I didn't even realize I posted a story. Just a picture of the drink. Harmless. But Leo saw it. The next morning, I woke up to 10 missed calls and a string of texts. You're unbelievable. That's how fast you move on? Guess I was never enough. And that's when it hit me, he didn't care when he hurt me. He only cared when I stopped hurting over him. He wasn't mourning our relationship. He was mourning his control over it. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. I think that silence broke him more than anything I could have said. Later that week, he showed up at my door. I opened it, heart pounding, unsure what version of him I was about to face. He looked awful. Like he hadn't slept in days. His voice was low when he said, "I messed up." I just stared. "I didn't mean for things to go that far," he continued. "She was a mistake. I got lost. But I never stopped loving you." That word, mistake rang in my ears like a fire alarm. Do you even hear yourself? I whispered. You say that like you tripped and fell into her bed. He stepped forward, reaching for me. Please. Don't do this. There it was again. Don't do this. The phrase he always used when I tried to stand up for myself. When I tried to name the pain. When I finally stopped shrinking. I stepped back. You didn't love me, I said quietly. You loved what I let you get away with. He looked stunned. Like he hadn't expected me to say that. Like maybe he thought I'd take him back just because he showed up looking sorry. But I wasn't sorry anymore. I was tired. I hope you figure yourself out, I said. But I'm done trying to make you feel like a man while I disappear. I closed the door. And this time, I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch when I saw the blocked message appear after I tried to send him one last thing. Just a picture of that broken mirror from Lake Crescent. I wasn't sending it to shame him. I just wanted him to see what he'd broken. But maybe he already knew. The days after I closed that door were quiet. Too quiet. No more walking on eggshells. No more waiting for his mood to shift. No more shrinking myself to fit into the version of love he decided I deserved. But the silence wasn't peaceful. It was loud. Deafening, at first. Every moment was filled with echoes of him, his toothbrush still in my bathroom drawer, his hoodie still draped over my chair, the Spotify playlists we made together still haunting my phone. I thought healing would feel like fresh air. Instead, it felt like suffocating in a room where the windows had just been cracked open. The first week, I tried to distract myself. Cleaned the entire apartment. Twice. Threw out anything that smelled like him, including my favorite candle because he once told me it reminded him of our first date. But grief isn't something you can tidy away. It lives in small things. Like brushing your teeth and realizing no one's going to tease you for using too much toothpaste. Or waking up at 3 a.m. and reaching for a body that isn't there. That kind of grief sits in your bones. One night, I broke. Just collapsed onto the floor, face buried in a blanket he left behind, crying so hard I thought I might throw up. I didn't miss him. I missed who I thought he was. That realization shattered something in me all over again. He had me so convinced that I needed him to be whole. That without his love, his cold, conditional, manipulative version of it, I was just a desperate girl clinging to attention. But slowly, quietly, my mind started to clear. I started to remember the way he'd mock my dreams. The time I told him I wanted to start a podcast, and he laughed and said, "You really think people want to hear you talk for hours?" The way he made me question my reality. Made me apologize even when I hadn't done anything wrong. Gaslight me into thinking I was the unstable one. And the worst part? I believed him. I became smaller and quieter and more manageable, until I didn't even recognize myself. That's the real loss. Not the man. The parts of me I buried to keep him comfortable. A month later, I got an email. Just a subject line, "I'm sorry." No message. No explanation. Just 2 words that came far too late. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. Because by then, I was already learning how to take up space again. I started seeing a therapist. It was awkward at first. I didn't know how to talk about the things I'd minimized for so long. I kept calling them little things. Like the time he threatened to leave if I didn't change my outfit. Or the way he used sex to punish me, offering it only when I behaved, withholding it when I pushed back. But my therapist looked me dead in the eyes and said, "That's not love. That's control." It took me weeks to say it out loud. He was emotionally abusive. Even now, typing those words feels like betrayal. But I know it's not. It's survival. I've started rebuilding. Piece by piece. I deleted our playlists. I painted over the wall where his fingerprints used to live. I even started recording that podcast, just my voice, raw and trembling, talking about what it means to lose yourself inside someone else. And people listened. Because apparently, I'm not the only one. I still think about him sometimes. Not with longing, but with a strange, distant ache. Like touching a scar you forgot was there. I wonder if he's still talking to the girl who texted him that night. I wonder if he's still chasing people who don't know who he really is yet. But I don't wonder about me anymore. I know who I am. I am not a backup plan. I'm not a placeholder until something better comes along. I'm not a girl who begs to be loved. I'm the girl who walked away. And that's the part of the story he'll never get to rewrite.